It's time again for another installment of The Basics, and on today's show, and sticking with Magic the Gathering, I am finally getting to some awesome card multiples in the color blue that you absolutely need to have in your deck. So, let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, blue is an awesome color. It gets a bad rap because it is the color of counters, and this happened in sets such as Mirage and Beyond, where it just turned into a counter color. But it not only mixes well with white and or green if you're doing a multicolored deck, but it also has a lot of good cards to help it stand on its own, and some cards you might not think about to include in your deck. So, that being said, I'm going to start with this one, and I'm only showing you one because I can't find the other two, but you want 3 of these in your deck, maybe 4. Yes, it has a high cost at 8 to bring out. Of course, this card is Deep Spawn. But it is a 6/6 creature. It has trample. During your upkeep, take 2 cards from the top of your library and put them in your graveyard or destroy Deep Spawn. It also may not be the target of spells or effects until the end of turn and doesn't untap as normal. So it has its pros and cons, but if you're able to get a deck together where you have a lot of mana out and you need a high-powered creature, Deep Spawn would work for you. And at 6/6, there's not a lot out there that are going to have a beef with it. Sea Scryer costs only 2 to bring out. It's a 1/1 creature. Add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. Or add a blue to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. So, dual purpose card. Yes, it's only 1/1, but as I said before, with cards of this nature, first line of defense. Cephalid Sage costs 4 to bring out. It's a 2/3. Threshold. When that Cephalid Sage comes into play, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards from your hand. That could be very helpful. Argivian Restoration. This is a sorcery. It costs 4 to bring out. Put target artifact card from your graveyard into play. That could be huge, and I'm pretty sure I've used this in a deck before. I don't know why I took it out, but to be able to bring an artifact back just like that, you want 3 or 4 of these in your deck. Pieces of the Puzzle, rather new card. Sorcery, costs 3 to bring out. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put up to 2 instant and or sorcery cards from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. This is one of those cards that would end up confusing the hell out of your opponent, and sometimes you need a bit of that. Zur's Weirding. This is from the Ice Age. Enchantment costs 4 to bring out, and you're going to love this. All players play with the cards in their hands face up on the table. Whenever any player draws a card, any other player may pay 2 life to force the drawing player to discard that card. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. You want to get people freaking out? By that I mean your opponents? Use this card. Portent. It's a sorcery that only costs 1 to bring out. Look at the top 3 cards of target's player's library, then either shuffle that library or put those 3 cards on top of the library in any order. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. And finally, Sibilant Spirit. It costs 6 to bring out, so it's not exactly a cheap card. But it's a 5/6 creature, has flying. Whenever Sibilant Spirit is declared as an attacker, defending player may draw a card. So a lot of these blue cards, if you've noticed from the ones I've selected to say to put into your deck, they deal with library, graveyard, and switching up a lot of cards in a player's hand. And that can be huge at a certain time in games. And blue is one of the few colors that actually does this properly. Now, that all being said, as good of a blue deck you can make with creatures as an attacking deck, the whole purpose of blue is to stimmy and really piss off your opponent. And that's why blue is called the color of counters, because some of these equate to a counter, and a lot of these, if you put them out, your opponent's going to try to counter you with something he has. And it goes around in that vicious little circle that everybody hates. But as much as I hate it happening to me, because it can be a lot of fun. So that's why we have these cards that you want to put in your blue deck. Have a great day, everybody.